You've probably seen documents that have text or graphics or both, maybe at the top of every page or maybe at the bottom of every page. If that information was entered manually on every single page, whoever did it the long way. A header is an optional area you can have at the top of a page where the contents will be repeated on every page after. A footer, you guessed it, is the same thing only at the bottom of every page. This means you enter text or insert graphics once and Word repeats for the other pages so you don't have to. Let's do this with a long document. We're going to go to the Office button, click Open, and navigate to the Lesson 6 folder, and that's where we're going to find Recipe Book Plain. Recipe Book Plain right here. Give it a click and then open. Okay, so this document, if we scroll down, you can see it's not all that plain really, but I'm going to click on a page here and see that it's actually 28 pages long. I don't see anything at the top and bottom of each page, except if I look at the bottom right hand corner, there is a page number showing up down there in the bottom right. So I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top here, or hold down Control and hit the Home key on my keyboard to get back to the top. So let's say we wanted to insert something at the bottom of every single page. That means we'd need a footer created, and we know we have one down there because we saw the page number, so we don't actually insert the footer, we just activate it. So we go up to the Insert tab up here, and you'll see we've got in the header and footer group over here, header, footer, and page number. So we'll click Footer, and that represents the bottom of our page. So you can see we've got some built-in ones here listed where you could type your text. It looks like the bottom left. We've got one for the left, center, and right side of the page. We've got one down here that allows us to put in the page number and some text, and we've got a line. Here's some more ones. And you can see annual, austere, and we go alphabetically down the list for items that can be repeated at the bottom of every single page. So what we're actually going to do here is create our own. So that means coming down here to the Edit Footer link, and we'll give that a click. And you can see right away we're on the first page footer here. Now don't forget, we can have something different for our first page in a document. We talked about that when we went through page numbering. So you could have no page numbering on the first page and then page numbering show up on every page after that. That's usually because you may want to work with a title page or a cover page that doesn't have the header or the footer text or graphics repeated. Well, in our case, every page is going to be the same, so we don't want it to be different on the first page. Now, because we're looking inside of our footer here and our cursor's flashing, if we look up at the ribbon under the Design tab, we've got Header and Footer Tools, and right here you can see it's checked off, Different First Page. We don't want a different first page, so we deselect that. And you'll notice now it just says footer down here. It doesn't say first page footer. And there's some page numbering showing up over here on the right hand side. So here we're going to actually type in our own text. Let's type in some text. We'll type in the following. Let's type copyright 2006. We'll put a dash in there. All rights reserved. Great. Now maybe that should be centered, so what I'm going to do is highlight it, just click and drag over it, and I'm going to move up into my mini toolbar here, and I'm going to make sure that that's centered by clicking the centering button right here. Perfect. Looks good. Now notice that you can also adjust how close the header and footer contents get to the page border, and you can even have different header and footer on odd and even pages. For example, right here, you can see that my footer starts right about the 1 inch mark here on the ruler, but I can change that. I've got options up here in the position group where I can change the header from top and from bottom, and you can see it's a 1/2 inch here from the actual border of my page, and that can be increased or decreased with these arrows. Over here you can see I can have a different header and footer for odd and even pages. And when we do that, usually it's because we're going to use a book format. We could have the same content like copyright 2006 at the bottom of every page, but maybe it's left aligned on the odd pages and right aligned on the even pages. So if you needed to, you could have different odd and even pages. Kind of neat. Now for us, we're just going to leave it centered at the bottom of every single page. So all I'm going to do is double click in my page area here in my document to get out of the footer, and as I scroll down you can see there it is, copyright 2006, all rights reserved. There's my page number, and as I scroll down to the next page, there it is again repeated but with a different page number. Alright, now for the header. This time we're going to put a graphic image up there. So what we're going to do is move up to the very top of our document again. We'll go to the Insert tab. This time we're going to click Header. And again, we have some built-in ones that we can choose from. They are listed alphabetically. You can see there's quite a few options to choose from if we wanted to. Some of them have graphics in them. But if we just want to edit our own, we come down here to Edit Header. So now we're inside the header area, and you can see my cursor's flashing over here on the right-hand side. Right away, I've got a whole bunch of options related to my headers. You can see I've got that same checkbox for a different first page if I wanted to, odd and even pages, and I can adjust the space between my header and the top of the page or paper in this case. So I said we wanted to put in a graphic, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put a picture inside here. So all we're going to do is come over here to the Insert group and click Picture. And now we're going to navigate to the Lesson 6 folder of your exercise files. So if you're looking at pictures, for example, you'll want to move to wherever you've installed your exercise files. Mine are in the Documents folder. I'll double-click Word. I'm going to double-click Lesson 6, and there's my cake logo right there. So I'm going to give it a click, and I'm going to choose Insert. So there it is, and you can see because of the size of my picture, it's pushed the header space down. So I've got a lot more space taking up my page here for the header. Well, I can change that just by sizing down my picture. I'm going to go to the top right corner and just drag down and in until I get a smaller one. That's better right there, and you can see it is lined up on the right-hand side of my page. Alright, I'm going to double click inside my document area here, see what that looks like. So there it is up in the top right corner. And if I scroll down to page 2, I should see it down there as well. Sure enough, there it is at the top of page 2. Same thing for page 3, and so on for every single page in my document. So get creative with what you put in a header or a footer, and look at other documents out there to see how they're being used. You can use them for page numbering, dates and times, document names, and tons more.